Many in the country are bracing for a messy divorce and have a lot of questions about what the future might hold. And while residents of a divided UK cast a weary eye towards the future, our next guest says she's thought of returning home to Canada if the situation worsens. Danielle Orosa is a dual British-Canadian citizen who has lived in the UK for the past 10 years, and she voted to remain. And Danielle joins me from Brighton. So it's been 2 days. You've had time to kind of soak this in. I'm sure you're still in shock. How are you feeling today?
Still in shock, to be perfectly honest. It's been it's a lot of information to take in, and I think there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of fear, amongst myself and a lot of my friends, both British and European. So it's been, everybody's just sort of trying to get over the disappointment, really.
Disappointment, and you're angry, aren't you? You're angry about this.
Yeah, I am pretty angry about it. I don't think that this should ever have gone to a referendum in the first place. I am not qualified to understand the policies and I don't understand policies. I'm not an expert, and I think a lot of people feel the same. We're not experts. This shouldn't have been left to us because it wasn't really as simple as in or out. It's not that simple for everybody.
And you think a lot of people that this wasn't about voting to stay in the European Union or not, that there were all kinds of side issues that kind of got people out to make the decision they did about voting remain or leave.
I think a lot of people have said this, that the campaign leading up to the referendum on both sides was very flawed. There was a lot of misinformation. There was a lot of scaremongering on both sides. And, what do people do when they're presented with the wrong information? They can't make informed decisions. And I don't necessarily think that the right facts were presented from both sides. And so it's thrown the country into chaos, and there's a huge amount of uncertainty.
What are your main fears about how the Brexit will play out for you?
For me, primarily, it's from an economic standpoint. I work in an industry that is affected by property and housing markets. So, this will affect my job and the success that my company has. I've got plenty of friends that work, in jobs that trade with Europe. So, again, a huge period of uncertainty. What's going to happen? How long is it going to take to negotiate new deals? Nobody really knows. So from an economic standpoint, that's frightening. And also from a personal standpoint, I have a lot of friends that are European, and they didn't have a voice to vote in this referendum. The 2 million Europeans that live and work and have lives in the UK didn't get a chance to vote. What happens to them?
Yeah, and you're on the younger side of the demographics. Yes. And I know that a large majority of younger people, well, the majority of people under 50, and then the younger you go, the more and more of you decided that you wanted to remain. Are you angry at older people who are not going to have to live with this in the same way that you are and your friends are?
I don't want to say that I'm angry because I'm not here to start a fight with anyone. I'm disappointed.
Doesn't it feel unfair, though? Doesn't it feel? I'm not trying to lead you on, but if you're 70 years old and you're voting to leave, well, you've got another 10, 15 years, and maybe for you've got another 30, 40 years of your life probably.
Yep. It's deeply unfair, and it does make people angry. But I guess the point is, what's being angry and staying angry going to do to help? So. We just have to kind of try and figure out how to move forward. There's a lot of work to be done.
Well, both sides. Move forward. How about moving back? Because we know that you're both a dual British-Canadian citizen, and the Google searches for moving to Canada spiked. What are you hearing about that, and what are you thinking about that?
I mean, at this point in time, I'm not going to think about moving back at all. That's kind of been that's been an ongoing joke, I think, for a lot of dual citizens of different countries. It's the backup plan. Seriously, I don't want to leave the UK. I love it here. I've been here 10 years. It's a wonderful country to live in. I've made lasting friendships. I've traveled the world. I can't ever regret being here for the last 10 years, and I wouldn't want to leave. But, there's always that chance that if it does get really, really bad, then, I might have to move back to Canada.
It's an okay place back over here, too.
I
I know you know that. Danielle, it was a real pleasure speaking with you, and thank you very much for taking the time, and good luck with all of this.
Thank you.
All right. Danielle Orosa is a dual British-Canadian citizen who voted to remain in the EU. We reached her in Brighton.